The world of organized crime is a dark place where the most feared ones rise to power. In this video, we will explore mafia bosses known for their brutal tactics and the impact they have on the underworld. From American mobsters to international crime syndicates, these individuals have built their empires on a foundation of fear, exerting control over illegal activities and influencing governments and industries. Let's delve into the lives of these masterminds behind global criminal networks, pulling the strings from the shadows. Michael Mancuso. Michael "The Nose" Mancuso, born July 18, 1955, is an infamous figure in the American Mafia, and his life story is one of violence, prison terms, and a steady rise to power within the notorious Bonanno crime family of New York City. Mancuso's criminal career casts a dark shadow, and he is feared by many due to his ruthless nature and his high position in the underworld hierarchy. Mancuso's journey into the criminal underworld began in the early 1980s, when he was affiliated with the East Harlem Purple Gang. However, his first notable act of violence set him apart and marked him as a man capable of cold-blooded murder. In August 1984, Mancuso fatally shot his wife, Evelina, leaving her body on a bench in front of Jacoby Hospital in the Bronx. He pleaded guilty to manslaughter and received a 10-year prison sentence. This act alone instilled fear in those who knew of it. After all, what could you expect from someone who wouldn't even let his wife off the hook? Mancuso's integration into the Bonanno family was swift and bathed in blood. He became involved with the family during the mid-2000s, and his loyalty and prowess caught the attention of higher-ups. In 2004, acting boss Vincent Basciano promoted Mancuso to the position of acting underboss, signaling his importance within the organization. Just a few months later, in November 2004, Mancuso ascended to the role of acting boss after Basciano was imprisoned. However, his tenure as acting boss was brief due to his involvement in another heinous act. In February 2006, Mancuso was arrested for ordering the murder of associate Randolph Pizzolo in 2004. He followed the orders of imprisoned acting boss Vincent Basciano and arranged for soldier Anthony "Ace" Aiello to carry out the hit. Mancuso pleaded guilty to this murder and was sentenced to 15 years in prison in 2008. What happens next showcases Mancuso's influence and the fear he commands. During his imprisonment in June 2013, he was selected as the new official boss of the Bonanno family, controlling the organization through his associates and underboss Thomas DiFiore. Mancuso's influence extended beyond the prison walls, and he continued to exert power over the Bonanno family even while incarcerated. After his release from federal custody in March 2019, he resumed his criminal activities. However, his freedom was short-lived, as he was arrested again in March 2022 for violating the terms of his supervised release by associating with members of organized crime. However, Mancuso remains an active and influential figure, feared by many due to his high rank within the mafia hierarchy and his proven capacity for violence. Lorenzo Manino. Lorenzo "Lore" Manino, born in 1959, is an American mobster and a powerful figure in the Gambino crime family, one of the most notorious and influential mafia organizations in the United States. Manino's involvement in the Gambino crime family dates back to at least the late 1980s. In 1994, he pleaded guilty to drug trafficking and conspiring to murder Francesco Oliveri in 1988, for which he was sentenced to 15 years in prison. This conviction followed a mistrial in 1993, where a jury was unable to reach a verdict. The trial included testimony from Salvatore Gravano, who implicated Manino in the murder of Oliveri and provided insights into the Gambino crime family's rule against drugs. Despite his prison term, Manino's influence within the Gambino family remained strong. According to a 2007 New York Post article, he was described as a rising crime family star. This reputation was further solidified when, upon his release from prison in 2004, he resumed his criminal activities and climbed the ranks within the organization. In March 2019, a Gambino soldier named Paul Semplis was given a prison term for running a loan sharking operation. During the investigation, wiretapped calls revealed that Semplis reported to Manino, further emphasizing Manino's high rank and influence. Manino's ability to maintain his position and authority, even with members operating under his supervision being investigated and convicted, shows just how much deep-rooted influence he has within the Gambino family. Moreover, Lorenzo Manino is feared due to his high rank as a Caporregime and front boss within the Gambino crime family, one of the most powerful mafia organizations. His position is overseeing criminal activities, resolving disputes, and ensuring the family's profits. Manino's past conviction for conspiring to commit murder and his willingness to engage in brutal acts shows just how cold-blooded this man is. Additionally, Manino's resilience and ability to maintain his influence, even after serving a lengthy prison term, speak to his deep-rooted connections and respect within the criminal underworld. Currently, Manino holds the the position of front boss for Domenico Cefalu, serving as a powerful intermediary and leader within the family. Victor Amuso. Vittorio Little Vic Amuso, born on November 4, 1934, is an American mobster and the boss of the Lucchese crime family, one of the 5 families of the American Mafia. Amuso's reign as boss is considered one of the bloodiest periods in Mafia history, and he is currently serving a life sentence for murder and racketeering charges. Amuso grew up in Canarsie, Brooklyn, and his path into the Mafia began in the late 1940s when he was introduced to Anthony "Tony Ducks" Corallo, a prominent caporegime in the Gagliano crime family, a forerunner of the Lucchese crime family. Amuso acted as a bodyguard and chauffeur for Carmine Tramunti, immersing himself in the criminal lifestyle at a young age. Amuso's reputation for violence was established early on. He became an enforcer for Joseph "Crazy Joe" Gallo, a mobster in the Profaci crime family. In the 1960s, Gallo led a war against his boss, Joe Profaci, and Amuso allegedly killed several members of the Profaci faction. Amuso's involvement in this conflict resulted in a prison term. After Gallo's release and subsequent murder in 1972, Amuso joined the Lucchese family as an associate in the 19th Hole Crew, led by Capo Christopher "Christy Tick" Fornari. In 1977, Amuso became a made man in the Lucchese family, solidifying his position. However, his involvement in drug trafficking soon landed him in legal trouble. In 1977, he was arrested alongside Anthony "Gaspipe" Casso for their roles in a heroin smuggling operation based in Thailand. This incident demonstrated Amuso's willingness to engage in lucrative but dangerous criminal enterprises. One of Amuso's most notorious acts was the murder of Frank DeSico, the underboss of the Gambino crime family, in 1986. Amuso, Casso, and others planted a bomb that killed DeSico, intending to target John Gotti, who had orchestrated the murder of his own boss, Paul Castellano. This incident showcased Amuso's capacity for extreme violence and his willingness to target high-profile figures. By 1987, Amuso had risen to the position of boss of the Lucchese family, marking the beginning of a bloody reign. Amuso's tenure as boss was marked by a wave of violence and murder. He and Casso, his underboss, crafted a list of nearly 50 people they wanted dead, including men from their own family. They also ordered the murder of Peter "Fat Pete" Chiodo, a Lucchese caporigime, when they suspected him of being an informant. Chiodo survived and became a government witness, providing devastating testimony against Amuso and the Lucchese family. Amuso went into hiding in 1990 to avoid prosecution in the Windows case, a racketeering investigation. During this time, he continued to issue orders for murders and attempted to have John Gotti, the Gambino boss, killed. Amuso was captured in 1991 and convicted of all 54 charges, including 9 murders. He was sentenced to life imprisonment in 1992. Vittorio Amuso is feared due to his ruthless nature, his involvement in numerous murders, and his position as boss of the Lucchese crime family. His reign as boss was marked by extreme violence, with a significant number of men and associates being targeted. Amuso's willingness to order hits on high-profile figures, his own family members, and those he suspected of disloyalty solidified his reputation as a brutal and unpredictable leader. Amuso's ambition and thirst for power led to a wave of bloodshed within the Lucchese family and the New York Mafia as a whole. His actions caused instability and prompted rivals to emerge, resulting in further violence. Amuso's influence extended beyond his own family, as he conspired with other bosses, such as Vincent Chin Gigante of the Genovese family, to target John Gotti. Amuso's impact on the criminal underworld was profound. His tactics resulted in the loss of numerous made men, either through murder, imprisonment, or defection to the informant ranks. Amuso's violent methods and the instability he caused within the Mafia led to a significant decline in the power and influence of the Lucchese family. Liborio Bomo. Liborio Salvatore Barney Bellomo, born on January 8, 1957. He was born into a family with Mafia connections. His father, Salvatore Bellomo, was a soldier and a close associate of Anthony "Fat Tony" Salerno. This early exposure to the Mafia likely influenced Bellomo's path. He was initiated into the Genovese crime family in 1977, joining the 116th Street crew of Saverio "Sammy Black" Santora, marking the beginning of his criminal career. In 1990, Bellomo was identified as the acting boss of the Genovese family, following the indictment of Vincent Gigante in the Windows case. This early display of his influence within the family set the tone for his future rise. However, his prominent position also attracted the attention of law enforcement. In 1996, Bellomo was indicted on Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO charges, including the murders of Ralph Di Simone and Antonio Di Lorenzo, extortion, and labor racketeering. The murders of Di Simone and Di Lorenzo showcased Bellomo's capacity for extreme extreme violence. Both men were killed because the Genovese leadership suspected them of being informants. Bellomo's lawyers claimed that he passed polygraph tests, denying any involvement in the murders, but the FBI's suspicion of Bellomo's use of lithium to beat the polygraph added an intriguing twist to the case. In 1997, prosecutors offered Bellomo a plea deal, and he pleaded guilty to extorting payoffs from a construction union and a garbage hauling company, resulting in a 10-year prison sentence. However, Bellomo's legal troubles didn't end there. In 2001, he was indicted again on money laundering charges related to the Genovese family's involvement in waterfront rackets and control of the ILA. Bellomo pleaded guilty to lesser charges but faced an extended prison term. One of the most notorious acts attributed to Bellomo was the ordering of the 1998 murder of Ralph Coppola, the acting captain of his crew and a good friend. Coppola had disappeared a few weeks before his sentencing on fraud charges, and government witness Peter Peluso testified that he had transmitted a message from Bellomo in prison, ordering Coppola's murder. This incident demonstrated Bellomo's willingness to sacrifice even those close to him to protect the family's interests. Liborio Bomo is feared due to his high position as the boss of the Genovese crime family, his involvement in violent crimes, and his reputation for ruthless decision-making. As acting boss and later as boss, Bellomo holds significant power and influence within the criminal underworld. His ordering of the Coppola murder, even while incarcerated, shows his ability to exert control from even behind bars. Bellomo's influence extends beyond his own family, as he has been implicated in labor union corruption and extortion, demonstrating his reach into legitimate industries. His reputation for violence, combined with his strategic thinking, is what makes him a fearful opponent. Sergey Mikhailov. Sergey Mikhailov, nicknamed Mikas, is a Russian businessman and the leader of the Solntsevskaya Bratva, one of the most powerful criminal syndicates in Russia. Born on February 7, 1958, Mikhailov began his career as a waiter, but soon ventured into the criminal realm after serving a prison term for fraud in 1984. In the late 1980s, he formed the Solntsevskaya gang, also known as the Solntsevskaya Bratva, in the Solntsevo district of Moscow, recruiting aggressive young men as foot soldiers. The gang's strategic location near transport hubs allowed them to muscle in on the lucrative car import business, marking the beginning of their rise. In the early 1990s, the Solntsevskaya gang faced a challenge from the Chechen Mafia. Mikhailov, along with other Slavic mob leaders, formed an alliance to drive out the Chechens, resulting in a violent gang war. The Solntsevskaya gang's dominance and territorial control were established through brutal force, bloody battles that claimed numerous lives. This period showcased Mikhailov's willingness to engage in extreme violence to protect and expand his criminal enterprise. As the Soviet Union collapsed, Mikhailov and his mafia seized the opportunity to empower themselves further. They established relationships with politicians, influencing the Russian state for their benefit and solidifying their hold on various criminal enterprises. The Solntsevskaya gang also invested in legitimate businesses, including banks and casinos, to launder their ill-gotten gains. Mikhailov's syndicate was linked to criminal mastermind Semyon Mogilevich, through whom they laundered money. However, he later planned a hit on Mogilevich at a 1995 party in Prague, which Mikhailov attended, but it was thwarted by Czech police. Mikhailov's influence extended beyond Russia, as evidenced by his purchase of a villa in Switzerland through intermediaries. However, this move led to legal troubles when he was arrested in Geneva in 1996 on charges of false documents and violations related to foreign property ownership. He spent 2 years in jail awaiting trial, but was eventually acquitted and released. Sergey Mikhailov is feared due to his position as the leader of the Solntsevskaya Bratva, one of Russia's most powerful criminal syndicates. His influence and reach are extensive, impacting various industries and crossing international borders. Mikhailov's willingness to engage in violent gang wars and his connections to politicians is what contributes to his fearsome reputation. He has successfully navigated the criminal landscape, expanding his syndicate's power and influence. The Solntsevskaya Bratva's involvement in various criminal enterprises, including car imports, banking, and money laundering, prove their versatility and adaptability. Additionally, Mikhailov is more than able to evade conviction, despite facing legal charges. His release from Swiss prison, following the acquittal, further solidified his standing within the criminal underworld. Dawood Ibrahim. Dawood Ibrahim, born on December 26, 1955, is an Indian mob boss, drug lord, and terrorist who founded the D Company, one of India's most powerful organized crime syndicates. Dawood's criminal career spans decades, and he is wanted by the Indian government for various crimes, including murder, extortion, drug trafficking, and terrorism. He is widely feared due to his extensive criminal network and brutal tactics. Dawood was born into a Konkani Muslim family in Khed, Maharashtra, and grew up in the Dongri area of Mumbai. He dropped out of school and in his teens began committing fraud, theft, and robbery. He joined the local gang of Bashu Dada, a don in the organized crime syndicate. After a fallout with Dada, Dawood formed his own gang with his brother, Sergey Ibrahim Kaskar, known as the D Company. Following his brother's death, Dawood became the sole boss of D Company and expanded his criminal activities. He was involved in gold smuggling, real estate, extortion, and drug trafficking. By the early 1990s, his gang had over 5,000 members and generated significant revenue. Dawood's criminal network extended across Asia, Europe, and Africa, with India contributing over 40% of its earnings. Dawood is widely believed to have masterminded the 1993 Bombay bombings, which solidified his reputation as a feared terrorist. In 2003, the Indian and U.S. governments designated him as a global terrorist, and he currently tops India's most wanted list. Dawood's involvement in terrorist activities, including his alleged links to al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden, further contributes to the fear he commands. Dawood Ibrahim is feared due to his extensive criminal network and ability to evade the authorities. As the leader of D Company, he oversees a vast array of criminal activities, including drug trafficking, gun running, extortion, and money laundering. Dawood's syndicate has consistently aimed to destabilize India through riots, terrorism, and the pumping of fake Indian currency notes into the country. His influence is not only limited to India. There are even reports of his presence in Pakistan and the United Arab Emirates. His ability to operate across international borders and maintain safe havens showcases his resourcefulness and connections. Dawood has invested in real estate in Karachi, Dubai, and India, and is quite able to launder money through legitimate businesses. His syndicate is even believed to control a significant portion of the Hawala system, which is an unofficial money transfer network, which allows him to move funds discreetly and support his criminal enterprises. The man even has connections to various terrorist groups, such as Osama bin Laden's al-Qaeda. Daniel Rendon Herrera. Daniel Rendon Herrera, also known as Don Mario, is a Colombian drug lord and the former leader of the Los Gaitanistas drug trafficking paramilitary gang. Born in 1966 in Antioquia, Colombia, to a poor family, Rendon Herrera was one of 14 children. His brother, Freddy Rendon Herrera, alias El Alaman, also led a paramilitary group, showcasing the family's involvement in criminal activities. Daniel Rendon Herrera's path into the criminal world began at an early age, and he quickly rose through the ranks. Rendon Herrera was a high-ranking member of the AUC, United Self-Defense Forces of Colombia, a paramilitary group. He was a close friend of Carlos Castano Gil, the top commander of the AUC, and named one of his organizations in his honor. Rendon Herrera also led the Elmer Cardenas block of the ACU, Peasant Self-Defense Forces of Cordoba and Uraba, another paramilitary group. He commanded 400 men in the Uraba region and controlled drug trafficking operations, forming alliances with guerrilla groups. Rendon Herrera's criminal activities eventually led to his capture in 2009 by the Colombian National Police. He was extradited to the United States in 2018, where he faced justice for his crimes. During his trial, Rendon Herrera admitted to trafficking more than 80 tons of cocaine, a staggering amount that highlights the scale of his drug operations. Daniel Rendon Herrera is feared due to his leadership position in powerful paramilitary groups and his extensive drug trafficking operations. As the leader of Los Gaitanistas and a high-ranking member of the AUC, he oversaw violent criminal enterprises and controlled drug trafficking routes. Moreover, Rendon Herrera also formed alliances with guerrilla groups and trafficked cocaine internationally. Jang Na Jong. Jang Na Jong, allegedly the boss of the Chinese Mafia in Italy, is a feared figure due to his leadership position in a powerful criminal organization and his involvement in violent activities to control the European road transport market for goods made in China. Jang Na Jong is accused of leading a criminal organization that wields significant economic power and controls a large part of the European road transport market for goods made in China. Through violence, threats, and shootings, his syndicate has dominated Chinese communities in Italy, France, Spain, and Germany. This level of influence and territorial control has solidified Jang's reputation as a feared figure. A wiretapped phone call between Jang and his associate, Lin Guochun, revealed important insights into their operations. In the conversation, Lin informs Jang about a visit by a secretary of an important Chinese leader to Rome, highlighting their connections to high-ranking officials. Zhang's ability to coordinate meetings with government officials and his knowledge of their movements proves just how much influence and access to privileged information he has. Jang's organization, known as ANDA, is described as having great economic power. They have established companies in Italy, France, Spain, and Germany. This allows them to launder money and conduct illegal activities on a global scale. Jang Na Jong is feared because of his leadership position in a powerful criminal organization that employs violent methods to maintain control. His syndicate is known to use violence, threats, and shootings to assert dominance over Chinese communities in multiple European countries. This reputation for brutality and their ability to carry out violent acts contribute to the fear they command. Additionally, Jang's organization is involved in usurious money-lending activities. Their influence extends to the point where they can interfere with legitimate businesses and transport operations, causing a significantly great impact on the market. Na Jong's syndicate has successfully infiltrated legitimate businesses and established a strong presence in the road transport market. They are able to control the flow of goods and exert influence over various industries. This economic power, combined with their violent methods, makes them a formidable force. Antonio Francisco Bonfim Lopez. Antonio Francisco Bonfim Lopez, also known as Nem or Nem da Rocinha, is a Brazilian drug lord and one of the leaders of the Amigos dos Amigos criminal organization. Lopez is feared due to his high position in the drug trade and his disregard towards human life. Lopez was born in the south zone of Rio de Janeiro, and his parents moved from the northeastern state of Paraíba to escape poverty. Before becoming involved in drug trafficking, Lopez worked as a delivery boy for a magazine company. However, he soon entered the criminal world, joining the Amigos dos Amigos gang. Amigos dos Amigos, or ADA, meaning Friends of Friends, is a criminal organization that has been operating in the Brazilian city of Rio de Janeiro since 1998. The gang was formed when a member of the Comando Vermelho, another Brazilian mafia, was expelled for ordering the murder of a fellow member. ADA's primary rivals are the Comando Vermelho and Terceiro Comando Puro gangs, and they control numerous drug selling points in the north and west zones of the city. Lopez served as an enforcer and security guard for Erismar Rodriguez Moreira, the leader of Amigos dos Amigos. When Moreira was killed in 2005, Lopez seized the opportunity to murder his successor, Orlando José Rodriguez, and became the new leader in 2007. Under his reign, Lopez controlled the drug trade in Rosina, one of the largest favelas in Rio de Janeiro. Lopez had a net worth of $100 million, $60 million, showing his financial prowess and the success of his criminal enterprises. He was responsible for more than 60% of the consumed cocaine in Rio de Janeiro and had connections with Bolivian cocaine dealers, bringing in 200 kilograms of cocaine from Bolivia each month. This massive drug operation contributed to his fearsome reputation. Lopez lived a luxurious life, residing in a 3-story mansion in Rio. He was known for hosting extravagant parties and associating with celebrities, further showcasing his wealth and influence. Antonio Francisco Bonfim Lopez is feared due to his leadership position in the drug trade, his violent methods, and his significant influence in the Rocinha favela. As the leader of Amigos dos Amigos, he oversaw a vast drug operation, employing 120 armed hitmen to maintain control. Lopez's ability to bring in large quantities of cocaine from Bolivia and his connections with Bolivian dealers highlight his international reach and influence in the drug trade. Kenichi Shinoda. The man with two names, Kenichi Shinoda, also known as Shinobu Tsukasa, is a notorious figure in the Japanese underworld. As the current Kumicho, chairman of the Yamaguchi-gumi, Japan's largest Yakuza organization, Shinoda is a powerful and influential criminal lord. Born on January 25, 1942, in Oita, Kyushu, Shinoda began his Yakuza career in 1962 when he joined the Hirota-gumi, a Nagoya-based affiliate of the Yamaguchi-gumi. He quickly rose through the ranks, and in 1984, after the disbandment of the Hirota-gumi, he founded the Kodokai along with Kiyoshi Takayama. Shinoda's criminal activities are extensive and often violent. In the early 1970s, he was convicted of murdering a rival Yakuza boss with a katana, showing how ruthless he was. He spent 13 years in prison for this crime. Shinoda also played a significant role in the numerous historic Yakuza wars waged by the Yamaguchi-gumi, particularly in the Yamaichi War in the late 1980s, which solidified his position within the organization. One of the most notable aspects of Shinoda's criminal career is his involvement in the expansion of the Yamaguchi-gumi's influence beyond their traditional Kansai region stronghold. Under his leadership, the Kodokai established branches in 18 prefectures, including the Kanto region, which was not traditionally Yamaguchi territory. This expansionist strategy inevitably led to conflicts with other Yakuza groups, particularly in Tokyo. In December 2005, just 4 months after becoming the Kumicho of Yamaguchi-gumi, Shinoda began serving a 6 6-year prison sentence for gun possession. One of his bodyguards was caught with an illegal pistol, and Shinoda was convicted of conspiring with the bodyguard. Kenichi Shinoda is feared due to his extensive criminal network, his violent past, and his strategic expansion of the Yamaguchi-gumi's influence. His rise to power within the Yakuza world was swift and often bloody, and he has proven himself a capable and ruthless leader. Shinoda's willingness to engage in violent conflict, as evidenced by his involvement in the Yakuza wars, has likely contributed to his reputation as a formidable opponent not to be taken lightly. Additionally, Shinoda's expansion of the Yamaguchi-gumi into new territories has likely caused concern among rival Yakuza groups and law enforcement alike. This expansion is the result of his ambition and strategic mindset as he seeks to solidify his organization's dominance across Japan. Shinoda's influence is such that he was sanctioned by the Obama administration in 2012, along with his second-in-command, Kiyoshi Takayama, highlighting the international recognition of his criminal activities. Now don't stop here. There is more of the underworld left to uncover. Click on the cards on your screen to watch more exciting videos.